Hey friends, Joe here at Tech Adventure. This is the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Nano. It looks a lot like the Carbon series, but it's not exactly a Carbon. It's a smaller version of the Carbon. So you get all of the ThinkPad benefits, which is its military specification and strong industrial design. And on top of that, you get a smaller chassis. So it's a thinner, lighter, smaller Nano version of the Carbon. And I've been sitting on this review for a while. I've had this here in the studio, my bedroom, for about a month now. And I've used it off and on, but not as much as I expected that I would. I clamored over this laptop when it was announced, and I really wanted to get it. Now, if you continue watching this, don't expect a lot of negativity, even though it's kind of in the tone of my voice. It's mostly because I'm not quite sure what to do with this thing. You see, it's a fine machine, but when you stack it up next to other options like the Carbon series or even like a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air, really makes me wonder what this is supposed to be. So here's the MacBook Air fully in frame, right? Now I'm going to drop the Nano on top of it, okay? Try to give you a really good sense of size. You know, it's definitely smaller than the MacBook Pro, and it's a little bit thinner. Okay, I'm going to do a side-by-side for you. The hard part is the feet. The feet really get in the way, right? So the MacBook has a bulge here in the back that Apple's able to hide. I realize it's not really coming in. But anyway, they're about actually the same size, but the bulge and then the feet on the Nano, which here, check out the thickness of the feet. I guess my point is, friends, why do you need something this small, right? We all want thinner and lighter to make things more portable so they don't hurt our backs in our backpacks or something, or just, you can one-hand them and just take them down to your office or something, take them around the house, take them to a cafe. But you also don't want to jeopardize usability, right? So smaller machines can have crammed keyboards, or they can have displays that are just too small, right? No one's running out in droves and buying 8-inch, one notebook devices. One notebook's a manufacturer, one laptop or something. But there are these 8-inch form factor, fully clamshell laptops made out of aluminum, and they're like $800. Nobody's buying them because they're too small. You can't really do work on a screen that's 8 inches. You can do work on a screen that's 13 inches. But okay, now I'm getting on a soapbox. I guess my point is, know what you're buying. All right, so let's talk about what you could be buying. This is the X1 Nano. It can be configured with up to an i7 1180 G7, which is not to be confused with like an 1165. Okay, so this CPU, it does have 4 cores, 8 threads, and a 12 megabyte cache. I mean, if you go to the 1180, right, that model, and it's clocked at 2.2 gigahertz. So, I mean, it's a beast, especially for a small machine. But it's a small machine, and the fans will ramp up and you'll hear them, and that's just a thing. Now, as far as display goes, it's a 2K display. There are 2 different options. One has an anti-reflective, anti-smudge touchscreen. The other one is an anti-glare. So again, know which configuration you're getting up to. You can get up to 16 gigs of RAM, which is what I have in here. 13 hours is the rated battery life, and I did not get 13 hours. You get up to a 1 terabyte SSD, the Intel Iris X graphics. And from there, I mean, there's a bunch of other things that Lenovo lists on its website. We'll talk about connectivity in a moment. And then the thing I really want to mention, I'm trying to find it here on my list, is its size and weight, the official size and weight. Okay, so starts at 1.99 pounds for the non-touch model, and then the touch model is 2.14 pounds. So yeah, you can also get this with, I believe, with a 5G chip. And in that case, it does add a little bit of weight. Adds about 0.07 pounds. It's negligible. Okay, let's jump in. So ports. First, on the right-hand side, you have your power button, right? Followed by exhaust. All right, and then that's it. On the left-hand side is where you're gonna find your I/O. Okay, this is a very short list. You have a headphone jack, 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, and this one is for charging. I didn't try charging it in the other one, but I imagine it probably works just fine because they're they're not too close together. There could be 2 separate controllers, but anyhow, of course, no ports on the back, just a really nice design. And then on the bottom, You have a fan right here, speakers come out of here, and then otherwise it's pretty darn clean. And it's not much of a fingerprint magnet, but it's the same. If you're used to other ThinkPads, it's the same. My hands are not particularly oily at the moment, but even if they were, you can see from a month of on and off use, it didn't really pick up any fingerprints. I don't clean these things before I do videos because I want them to be really honest reviews, and I'm lazy. You pick which one you think is true. Maybe it's both. Okay, so look at how thin the distance is between the keyboard and the edge of the chassis, right? Like this is very, very thin. So Lenovo crammed in a keyboard. And of course, what you don't want is a crappy keyboard just because you're getting a small display. And the really good thing here is that you didn't get a crappy keyboard. You got an awesome keyboard. This is just as good as a ThinkPad Carbon keyboard, in my opinion. There you go. There you have it. This is an awesome keyboard. You do have the nub, or as some call it, the nipple, right here. And then you still have your dedicated keys for clicking, middle button, left and right, or mouse 1, mouse 2. Gosh, that was terrible. You have a fingerprint reader. This also supports Windows Hello facial recognition. So I'll lay this down flat, as ThinkPad Carbons do. There's your camera, and there's also the infrared capability. All right, so let me kick this thing out a bit and see if we can get some better viewing angles. We can't, so that's just sucky. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to readjust the camera. We're going to take a look at the laptop. All right, so now you have a better view of the overall machine. You can see sort of the size of it relative to my hand. Here's my 11-inch iPad, right? So get an idea of the size. And this is the next step, by the way. If you feel like even at this tiny size, the X1 Nano is just too big, or you want to try something thinner and smaller that's still powerful, this is an 11-inch iPad Air. This thing is super small. It's thinner, it's lighter, and when you add a keyboard, it's just probably a tiny bit heavier and maybe a little bit thicker, but you can detach it. So you have that flexibility, and it's a really good touchscreen device, whereas this is a really poor touchscreen device because it's running Windows. Okay, don't worry. If Mac OS were touchscreen, I would have made the same type of sound. I mean, come on. Touchscreen on desktop OS it's time to move on. The dream is over. Okay, so some of the things that I wanted to show off are speeds. So one of the things that drives me absolutely bananas about the MacBook Pro, the one that I showed you, is that this is the M1 MacBook Pro that I showed you a moment ago. It is not as fast as people say. I mean, you can do open Finder, do Spotlight search, browse the web. All that stuff is certainly fast. Not much faster than if you're running on an 11th gen Intel CPU laptop, like an Ultrabook, right, or a Evo. No big deal. But opening Word, Office applications, maybe because they're on Rosetta, they're not optimized for Apple Silicon, that is slow. 6 seconds to open Word on Mac with M1. Now I'm going to open Mac on the X1 Nano unplugged with not too much battery left, but not in this. It's still in balanced mode. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. That was about 4 seconds to open Microsoft Word from nothing, as you can see. And it only took 4 seconds. So it's faster than the M1. Where's all the press coverage? Why aren't people freaking out? All right. As you can tell, I'm new to Apple. I'm very new to Apple products. Okay, so if you want to browse the web, or let's do file management first. So you open folder, it's plenty fast. You know, here's stuff that you can click around. You can open things. It's going to move pretty fast. I will say the touch bar, the touchpad is not as awesome as my experience with the Apple ones. They really got it good there. So I'm going to open up a new browser. All right. Oh, goodness. New window, full screen. All right, so let's go to CNET. My buddy Ian Schur, he's an editor at CNET. Ian's not watching because he's too cool, but if you are, Ian, I miss you. Okay, so I mean, it's fast. This is an impressive little machine, and you know you can open web pages as fast as you would on anything else. I have really good internet here, that helps, but yeah, let's browse something else. Let's go to the GWW. Now their site is a little slow. I noticed the site slowed down after I left, but it also looks a lot cooler. So I guess it's a trade-off. So yep, here's Geeks Worldwide. Does look really neat. Nice job, guys. Okay, so all that is pretty awesome. Now let's go back to Word. Oh, what is this? Oh, it's an update. That is brutal. Okay, no, don't update. Oh, even with the update, look at that. Nice update, guys. All right, let's test out the keyboard. Oh, that is brutal. Come on, guys, just let me use it. All right, you know what? Forget you. See if I can circumvent. Dang it, they're on to me. By the way, did you notice how much faster Excel opened up? That was awesome. All right, so Microsoft's really being rude. So you know what? WordPad, totally capable if you just need to knock out a quick essay or something. There's also Google Sheets. Okay. All right, so yeah, my take on the keyboard, if it wasn't abundantly clear, is that it's awesome. And overall impressions, guys, I really, really dig this machine. Again, though, it really depends on what you want. So if you need the military specification, something that can handle being on in high pressure environments, high humidity environments, I don't know if you can spill water directly on this or not, by the way. Maybe a sprinkle would be fine, but it's designed to be more durable, okay? Now, it's not super duper cheap. It does get as much as $1,000, okay? But you can get into it for a lot less. So Lenovo, if I have never mentioned this before, which I know I have, their sales are epic. You can get, okay, there's the $3,000 model right now with the 11th gen, so the 1160 G7, okay? And so not quite this CPU. 16 gigs of RAM, half a terabyte SSD, Windows Hello and all that fun stuff. $3,000 on sale right now for $1,400. Okay, fire sale on this device. $1,500 for another specification that I would not recommend because it is only an i5 and 8 gigs of RAM. So be smart about how you do this. Here it is, by the way, just for reference. I'm just on Lenovo's website. This is not anything fancy. And this is the best place to buy it, by the way. I've not seen this at major retailers. But, I mean, look at that. $1,400 right now for what is actually a $3,100 device, and it ships next day for free. That's pretty cool. So that's as of right now. That's basically the machine I'm running right here, which was impressive. $1,400 is a good price. Now you can get to a MacBook Pro for less, and I was kind of headed that direction a moment ago. Now I can definitely recommend this for Windows users. If you don't mind the smaller size, if that's kind of what you're after, you're going to be happy. It's not going to have the amazing sound capabilities as a MacBook or something like that, but it's going, if you're comfortable with Windows, if that's your preference, you're good to go. And it has a privacy shutter to block that webcam if you don't want it. Now, I'm a sucker for really nicely built machines. I shouldn't put it that way. I'm a sucker for nicely built machines that use premium materials. But I'm in a different stage in my life, right? Like I'm in a stage in my life where I can choose to buy almost any laptop that I want. And I'm proud of that because this is my hobby. So I'm like at this pinnacle of my hobby where I get to do the things I really want to do. So when I see a single solid piece of aluminum and just a beautifully built machine, I get excited, right? That's why I love Razer's machines and I love the Apple MacBook design, not so much this M1 processor people are going goo goo gaga over. This is not poorly built. This is well built, but the materials are different, right? It's not a single sheet of aluminum, but what you do get is a solid device that's not as slippery as aluminum, not as sharp at all on the edges as aluminum. And it's so much lighter because it's not using a solid hunk of CNC milled aluminum that you can more comfortably carry it around. So when it comes to portability, the X1 Nano wins over even something like a Razer Blade Stealth. Maybe not against a Razer Book. The Razer Book is also a solid piece of aluminum, and it's small, but it has a terrible keyboard. This has an awesome keyboard. So, having said that, right now you can get the top of the line model, near top of the line, $3,100, down for just $1,400. If you're looking for a new Windows machine, if you're an Office type user, right, so you're using Microsoft Office Suite or similar types of applications, you're not doing photo editing, video editing, anything that requires heavy sustained processing, this is a really good machine. If you're a student, totally makes sense. If you're going to be going from your dorm room to class, not much opportunity to charge, you're going to be fine. Just baby the thing when it comes to your battery, and you're going to be in good shape. Thank you, Lenovo, for sending this to me for a review. I will ship it back. I know I've been sitting on it for a while. I just didn't quite know how to approach this. And I don't do scripts because I'm super lazy. So there you go. X1 Nano. It's an awesome machine, and it's well priced on sale. Check it out. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it, folks. Cheers.